Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are excited to have you here because we are talking about things that really hold us back. They're called obstacles. And my guest today, Matthew John, is a spiritual teacher and an intuitive healer. And he's here to help us radically break through the biggest obstacles that we face. You know, Matthew, welcome. This is one of the top 5 questions that we get. Why am I blocked? So we're glad to talk about this today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be back.
Yes. Okay. And as we are here, we want to share that you will be doing readings. We'll be doing those peppered throughout our talk. And so we'll get to as many as we can. But first, let's start. The last time you were here, you shared on some of the astrology things that are happening this year, with all the planets aligned. It's kind of giving us a nice springboard in a forward moving way. What is your current take on the energies now? Here we are in May. Oh my God.
Finally springtime, although it doesn't necessarily feel like it for everyone. It's actually supposed to snow a little bit here tonight and tomorrow. So, but it is technically spring. Actually, I have this wonderful flowering tree in my backyard that's just this week waking up and blooming and smiling, and it's so wonderful. It's like,
tell us where you're in. You're in New York.
I'm in New York. I'm in upstate New York. Yeah, so it can get a little chilly still in the spring sometime. But so it is springtime. Last time I was on, I was talking about that sort of springboard momentum energy that people could take advantage of with all the planets being direct for a long period of time, with 3 months actually, which is relatively unusual. And now we've kind of reached the apex of that springboard, and now we've jumped into this pool of transformation once again. The energies are not so much about zooming forward as much as they are about kind of going back, taking a step back and recalibrating and solving some of our issues and our problems, if you want to use that word, that we've been needing to address for a while, and just going through radical transformation. We're in an eclipse portal right now. We're in an eclipse season. Eclipse seasons happen twice a year. They either have 2 or 3 eclipses that encapsulate the season. We have 2 eclipses. And actually, when we're doing this show live, and those that are watching, for the week following, we're right in the middle of the 2 eclipses in the eclipse season. The first one was a North Node Aries eclipse. North Node eclipses are about our soul's destiny and about recalibrating us to put us on the higher path that our soul had intended, if all goes well, for us to be on in this physical incarnation. While a South Node eclipse helps us to revisit the past. It helps us to revisit all the things that are unsettled behind us and within us, because if we're carrying too much baggage from the past, if we're carrying too much baggage within, we cannot move forward as quickly into our destiny, or as effectively or gracefully into our destiny, which is represented by that North Lunar Node. So this eclipse season started with the North Lunar Node eclipse in Aries, which is super aggressive about, okay, I've had enough. I'm getting on with my path. I can't do the stuff anymore that doesn't matter to me. I can't do the stuff anymore that it just is mundane to me. I have to, get into that feeling of being in my soul's destiny. And now it's about taking a step back and being like, well, maybe the reason why I've been struggling to really feel myself in that higher soul's destiny is because there's stuff within that I still haven't healed. And this South Node eclipse is in Scorpio, which is super, super, super intense. It's about emotions. It's about wounds and traumas. It's about issues with the family. It's about the deepest wounds that lie somewhere within us. So everyone's naturally kind of feeling a lot of stuff emotionally, and will over the next couple of weeks. And then eventually eclipse season will be over and Mercury retrograde will be over. and it'll be more about getting back on track with doing.
And so, as we're talking about obstacles, how does that fit in with what we're doing? Because Mercury retrograde, that plays a part in obstacles, right? When we can
Definitely
visit it, so we don't see it as a challenge, or do you see it as a challenge? Would you say it's more of a time to revisit those obstacles and revisit?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Mercury retrograde has a Jekyll and Hyde sort of, manifestation to it, in my view. On one hand, it's really sometimes frustrating and difficult. Absolutely, you're going to have electronics go awry. Your iPhone, your laptop, etc., is going to do crazy things. Your car is going to do weird things. Your travel plans are going to go, get canceled or get rescheduled. Your appointments, if you're a practitioner, people are going to miss appointments, or you're going to reschedule appointments on people. All that stuff happens during Mercury retrograde. You're going to have miscommunications with people in your life, especially via text message and email, where they don't really they miss the context of it, or they misinterpret what you meant, or you misinterpret what. All that happens during every Mercury retrograde. It's unavoidable. There's something that is going to come up. However, the great thing about Mercury retrograde is it is a fantastic opportunity for a couple of things. One, to refine our communication. During Mercury retrograde, it's the best time for us to learn to become better communicators, because anytime a planet goes retrograde, we have the opportunity to revisit whatever the themes of that planet are as they are manifest, or as they affect us personally. So whenever Mercury goes retrograde, you can say, okay, however, I'm not the best listener, or not the best speaker, or not the best at writing emails, or addressing things with people where they're received well, or whatever it is, now's the time to work on it. Another great thing about Mercury retrograde is it naturally gives us the opportunity to go back and revisit our to-do list from the past, things that we've forgotten about or put a halt on, and also anything left over with other people from the past that is kind of the big matzo ball in the air and needs to be talked about. Mercury retrograde is naturally when that stuff will get talked about, because during Mercury retrograde, we naturally feel like we've turned back the clock. It's like turn back the clock day at the ballpark on a Sunday, where they wear a 1970s uniform. We naturally feel like we're back in the past during Mercury retrograde. And then when Mercury goes back direct, it's like, oh, it's weird. It's like, oh, now I feel like I'm in 2023 again. But during Mercury retrograde, you'll naturally feel like at times you're in the past. You'll be called to watch like movies that you used to watch in the past. I just watched Men in Black last night for the first time in about 15 years. And I remembered being like 10 years old in the movie theater watching it, and how much fun it was. And you'll watch shows and movies. You'll check in with like podcasters and YouTubers that you haven't checked in with in a while. You'll open up emails from people, like people, when you're on people's email lists in the New Age community or whatever, you'll open up people's emails you haven't opened up in a while. You'll remember that you forgot to respond to someone's email like 3 weeks ago, and you'll respond to it. So it's a great time to go back in the past and kind of work out anything that needs to. This Mercury retrograde is in Taurus also, so it's a great time. Any financial issues, you got to deal with, I don't know, a sale of a house, or car loans, or whatever financial stuff. You do have to be careful, because financial contracts really, notably during Mercury retrograde, people tend to miss things, and they tend to not realize that something is in the terms of the contract, and it becomes a problem later. So you always have to be careful with contracts during Mercury retrograde. Also, always be careful purchasing any big ticket items during Mercury retrograde. However, because it's in Taurus, it's a great time to actually go back and work out financial issues from the past. And as far as obstacles go, yeah, Mercury retrograde can seem like it makes things even more frustrating. It's like before the retrograde, you might already feel like you're not moving forward, at the pace you want to move. And then Mercury retrograde comes and seems that it slows things down even more. But it's an opportunity to basically readdress your to-do list, and from an inner work, an inner engineering, an inner healing place, to go back and address the stuff that you've been carrying with you for years and years and years, the inner baggage, the inner stuff that you need to work through and bust through, the obstacles. And then you can finally, if you take advantage of this time during eclipse season, during Mercury retrograde, address those right now. Address those right now. So when the Mercury retrograde ends, when the eclipse season ends, you are in a much higher place energetically. You've stepped up in vibration, and now your attracting mechanism, your law of attraction mechanism, is at a higher vibration, and you're going to attract more of what you want and less of recurring obstacles.
So fascinating, because I'm looking back even in my own experience, my own life, and yeah, appointments that change, even in my husband's life, right? Miscommunications and just being sent on a wild goose chase and that sort of thing. So it's all just fun and dandy. And even a flight changed, right? An airline changed, and back and forth, back and forth. So, okay, it's good to be aware of that then. And you mentioned the north node of the eclipse, and that's affecting our future, things in the future. Do you know the next eclipse on May 5th?
Right. So yeah, you might have missed that, but I mentioned that was the South Node and Scorpio eclipse coming up. So that's the one for people that are on live or watching days after. That's the one this week, Friday, May 5th. So it's the Scorpio energy, which is about the inner wounds, the inner traumas. It's about the stuff from the past. It's about issues with family members that need to be sorted out. It's about all the inner stuff. Scorpio is it's also about the spiritual world, I should mention as well. Because whenever we have a full moon, just FYI, if the full moon is when the moon and the sun are 180 degrees across from each other in the zodiac wheel. That's why the moon is fully illuminated. So on a full moon, we are playing with a certain polarity, the moon's polarity and the 180 degree opposite of it. So this full moon is in Scorpio, and the sun is, of course, in Taurus. We're in Taurus season. So we're playing with the themes of the Scorpio-Taurus axis. What is, in general, the themes of the Scorpio-Taurus axis? Scorpio is about the spiritual world. Taurus is about the physical world. So one of the major themes of this eclipse is basically we're negotiating, okay, how do we connect with the physical world? How grounded are we? How vital is our physical vessel versus how open are we in the upper chakras? How do we connect with the spiritual realm, spirit world? It's a great time to connect with loved ones that have passed the other side, spirit guides, any of the archangels or angels or entities on high that you enjoy connecting with. It's a great time to get out into that spiritual world. And at the same time, it's a great time to connect with nature. Yesterday was actually Beltane. Beltane is the pagan celebration of the beginning of summer. It falls midway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And Beltane is about connecting with nature, celebrating the fire element, celebrating that nature is at full bloom. And so it's a great time to go out and plant in your garden, go out in nature, hug trees, anything you do that connects you with plants and animals. And at the same time, because of the Scorpio portal opening up with, and an eclipse, amplifies a full moon 1,000-fold, perhaps, at least 100-fold, I would say. And it's a great time to also connect with the spirit world because of that.
Okay, beautiful. So Beltane, is it always, so it falls in between the equinox and the solstice?
Yep. So Beltane is one of, what's that?
Is it always on May 1st, or it'll
Yep,
move?
it begins on the evening of April 30th at sunset, and it continues into May 1st. May Day is the other name for Beltane. And it actually, the name Beltane it's Celtic. Bel is it's the name of a fire god in Celtic lore, and then Tane is fire in Gaelic. So it basically, the name itself means fire. So it's a celebration of the fire element, because in springtime, it's when nature is blooming and nature is most voracious. Nature's, sexual. Everything is reproducing. Animals are all mating and reproducing. So it's that fire element that we're celebrating. Fertility, we really celebrate with, Easter, which is the spring equinox. Now we're celebrating the bloom of all nature.
Okay, beautiful. Well, Brigitte in our audience says she's had a lot of ancestral clearings and healings come up, and it's been intense.
Yeah, it's so interesting. On my Ascending as One call this past Sunday, and I'll be telling people about how they can get in on Ascending as One and get in on all the wonderful healing and spiritual currency that comes through that class that I lead. But we were doing clearing out ancestral issues, and it was perfect for the times that we're in this eclipse portal leading up to the South Node Scorpio eclipse. So many people right now are connecting with their ancestors in dreams, connecting with them through meditation, and also consciously doing work. The work we were doing on last Sunday's call was to consciously go back and understand better where some of our issues and obstacles come from as far as in our ancestral lineage, and just understand them and send forgiveness and just understand that everything is perfect as it is, and yet at the same time sending that healing back through time and forward through time through our entire ancestral lineage. Because the healing work that we do to ourselves, we're all connected. You and I are connected just because we're humans, but when you're in the same family, when you have the same blood as someone, you're connected on a deeper level, whether you want to be or not. What happens to you and what happens to your sister, there's a resonance there. There's a resonance between the healing processes of family members and even ancestors that are on the other side, which is why ancestors so often like to be around us after they've passed to the other side and be there as spirit guides. So whoever your guides are, whether they're ancestors or other guides you've known from other lifetimes or both, this Scorpio time over the next couple of weeks is a fantastic time to connect with everything on the other side. And also Beltane itself, because it's called a threshold festival or a liminal festival. So if we divide the year into 8, so you have solstice, equinox. Between the solstices and the equinox, you have what's called a threshold or a liminal festival, like Beltane, like Samhain, like Imbolc. And during those, the veils are said to be thinner. In ancient lore, the veils are said to be thinner, and the spirits, and we know, and we most recognize this in Samhain, which we know colloquially as Halloween, right? That the veils are meant to be thinner. That's one of the threshold festivals.
Ah, interesting. Okay, well, we have another person in our audience, Hannah, saying that she too is having those issues come up with ancestral healing and clearing. And I've noticed as well, it's the dream space. So maybe people are dreaming of their loved ones who've crossed over, but even I connected with my brother. I connected with my brother recently, and he said he had a dream about me. And that was very interesting because it was a healing dream.
Mm-hmm.
And so the dream space also opens us up into that. Maybe that's more of the veils being thin.
It absolutely. And that's, very much along the lines of Scorpio as well. The dream space, though, technically is really ruled by Pisces in the 12th house. However, yes, very often souls, it's very fascinating when sometimes souls recognize that it's easier to sort things out in dream space rather than in the waking world. Sometimes it's because the people involved are too stubborn, and sometimes it's maybe one or both, and sometimes just for whatever reason it would more derail people. At least my belief is it would more derail people's higher paths to actually have to sort things out in the physical world. So the souls sort things out in the dream space, because the dream space, we could say, is just as valid as the waking space. It's just a different experience. It's a different different rules to the experience, but it's just as valid. So souls will have us sort stuff out kind of without our conscious trying to control everything, and it's more the soul directing things. And then the amazing thing is after you have that dream, for whatever reason, it feels better. It feels clearer, and it was literally getting worked out between you and that other person while you were both dreaming. It's very fascinating.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to just share a little anecdote. Well, just a quick little story that speaks to what you're talking about. When my stepfather died, in my life, he was my greatest adversary, and he died on October 18th. But then 10 days later, 11 days later, I had a series of dreams, 3 dreams. And he came to me in those dreams. He said nothing, but he was 28 years old. And I walked up the stairs in the dream. I walked up the stairs in the house, his house, our house. And there he was in his bedroom, sitting without a shirt, 28 years old, about 25, 28 years old, handsome, young, cigarette hanging out of his mouth. And he just looked at me with the greatest love. I feel like crying right now as I speak that. But I was literally shocked because here it was like,
Yeah.
allowed to be in my dreams. But it was during that, in between the solstice, it was right around Halloween. Isn't that amazing? And from that dream space, he's now one of my guides. This was 12 years ago, but he's one of my guides. And if he hadn't come to me in those 3 dreams, I probably still would have been like, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
So it's so incredible, isn't it?
It is. And, people are often very surprised when I share with them or when they hear me in a talk or whatever, talk about exactly this, that when people pass over to the other side, when they do pass completely over into the light, they become very different and they become in their highest possibility. So we could say the ego mold is gone. The way they were, any of the negative sort of belief systems they had or the ways they went about communicating, it's all gone. And there's just love. There's just love that shines through. It's as if the false ego mold gets ripped off. Yeah. And it's just the soul and it's just love. And so people are very often surprised at that, when someone passes over that was really nasty to them or they didn't get along with, that they actually want to make amends or they want to convey to the person that's here that they're sorry and that they and sometimes I do mediumship for people and it's a lot of times kind of the gist of what they're saying is, I'm sorry, I didn't know who I was lost. I was just lost. I was lost in my mind. I was lost in anger or resentment or whatever. I'm sorry, please forgive me. And then they want to, if the person allows, serve as a spirit guide in order to help balance out, the negative karma that might have been accumulated in the physical world, and just out of service, just out of love. And then really ultimately, the truth is, and a lot of people have trouble grasping this, but it's great because people, like, the more they kind of dig into this spiritual work, they start to understand, they start to internalize that this really is true, that your greatest adversaries are generally the souls you actually know the best on the other side. And it's because you know them so well, and it's because there actually is a great love, that there's a safety to be felt between souls, that, okay, you're going to play the role of this greatest adversary for me, which is going to teach me so much, having to move through it and navigate it, and sometimes vice versa. Sometimes it's very negative from both sides in the physical. And then someday, the physical incarnation is over for both of you. And then up in the astral realm, you're like, wow, we played that perfectly. We did a great job. Look how much we learned. Look
how much we learned. And it wasn't easy, but I'm laughing because, wow, we did it for love. We did it to love. And to me, so beautiful. And so we share this story so that those who are experiencing similar situations in their lives can see it from that perspective, can see that we have a choice. I have a cousin who is dealing with issues with his family. And we try to illustrate this as best we can, because he doesn't have to wait until someone is gone on the other side. It can happen now. Yeah. And so that's just a choice that we share. And it's just so beautiful. And it's miraculous in my mind, right? My ego at first was like, no way, get out of my dreams. No way. But it changed me 180%. And so that's the beauty of all of it. And, now that I look at it, it was clearing generations of ancestral stuff, baggage, trauma, and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And like everything we're talking about right now, like speaking of like the energy is like, this is what it's about right now. It's about this stuff. It's about, Scorpio is the ultimate truth seeker. Scorpio will reveal whatever needs to be revealed. It reveals the truth of how everyone's feeling. It also reveals like the truth of how you're feeling to yourself. Like during this time, you can't avoid yourself. It's hard to just stay distracted. And we were there, before eclipse season and Aries season when all the planets were direct. Now it's not that anymore. Now it's about, okay, we have to sit with ourselves and we have to face the stuff within. And it's by design, because if we can do that, it helps us to move, as I said, vibrationally into the next stage.
Wonderful. Thank you. We're going to do some readings. Matthew's going to do some readings. We've got people with their hands raised already in our Zoom audience.
Yeah.
I want to get to a question here. And this one is from Hannah. In terms of connecting with our guides and angels, when we speak to them during Monday, everyday moments, such as driving in the car, do they hear us still? Or do we always need to raise our frequency closer to theirs before connecting in order for there to be a clear dialogue?
That's a great question, Hannah. And a lot of people ask me that question, and it's a question I used to wonder about. The answer is they can hear you at any time. Okay, the laws of physics are not relevant in the astral realm, and they can hear you at any time. They can hear you even when you don't speak out loud, but you're intending to speak to them in your head. It's all about intention, because ultimately life is about intention. And that's actually something important that we're going to need to talk about today in the context of overcoming our greatest obstacles, is that idea of intention. But as long as you're intentionally speaking to them out loud or in your head, they always hear you. Now, a lot of people get frustrated because they feel like they don't hear anything back. But what's important to know is that it's not always supposed to be words that you're hearing back. Some people will hear words in their head, or sometimes you will, but sometimes not. But more often than not, the way that they communicate with us is through signs. Signs, symbols, leaving things for you, synchronicities, finding the right material, finding the right thing. You just come across something and you read it, you're like, oh my God, I feel like that was meant for me. So yes, they always hear you, but don't always expect to hear back in words.
So beautiful. Songs on the radio.
Yeah.
Clouds in the sky.
Yep.
I mean, I've had some amazing things too. It's really wonderful.
Feathers, feathers are the most common way that loved ones will leave.
Yeah.
Animals, they'll show up as animals.
Animals, insects, dragonflies, birds. Yes. Wow. Okay. Good. Very good. So we've got some people that are filling up our queue for readings, and we're going to get to as many as we can. I wanted to have you set the premise by saying a little bit about obstacles. Maybe when you work with the questions, it's going to help people overcome some obstacles. That would be a good question.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I get over this? So tell us the main gist of some of these obstacles and what we need to know going into this.
So, commonly, just being human, we look at obstacles. We tend to look at obstacles as like thorns, in our sides, a rose prick that is in our skin that we need to pull out, a bee sting that, need to pull out the stinger with a credit card or whatever. Okay. We tend to look at it as like being attacked by the universe, being attacked by life, right? That, everything was going to be fine. And then something went wrong, right? The reality is almost always these biggest obstacles that come into our play are put there very intentionally by us, which sounds weird, but it's by a higher version of us. It's by a version of us that can see the whole picture of our entire life, which we could say is the soul. The soul is much wiser than the ego personality. The soul is so much wiser than whatever we, as the ego, as the mind, can perceive about our life. And so the biggest, think of those biggest things, the traumatic things, the accidents, the illnesses, the relationships that went south, the times when you self-sabotaged yourself, the times when you got fired, the times when, you know, you lost a lot of money, whatever it is, and we've all been through all this. You know, those things in the moment, it seems like either, wow, I really messed up, or wow, like life is unfair. Like I feel like the universe or God is like has left me behind, or is like attacking me, right? Or others are attacking me, or others. There's that victim mentality that's pretty natural to feel in the moment, unless you've gotten to a certain level of spiritual mastery, which some of us have by this point, where now an obstacle comes up and it's like, you know what? I don't know why, I don't know how this is supposed to help me, but in one way or another, I know that it will, because I know that this is how the universe actually works, which is the truth of, and it sounds at first, when you first start getting into this new age material, it sounds too good to be true. It sounds like airy fairy woo woo, as people use that term, but you get deeper into the spiritual journey and you actually realize, no, this is actually the truth of how the universe works. The universe is inherently benevolent, and inherently everything that happens is for a higher purpose of spiritual development, of evolution, even if temporarily it causes pain to yourself or others. So these things that have come up in our lives that in the moment we were like, wow, life sucks, this is BS. Ultimately, hopefully by now you can look back at least at some of the things that were long ago and realize how they shaped you and molded you like you were clay into the person that you become today, in ways that if it didn't happen, you would not be that person. You would not have encountered the wisdom you've encountered. You know, the truth is like most people that are, for example, on this call, you know, we've got lots of people on the Zoom call, and lots of people can end up watching the replay, and, you know, this is going to touch thousands of people's ears and eyes. Is most of these people, the reason you got into spirituality, new age spirituality, self-development, is because of obstacles, because of traumas, because of things that went wrong in your life, and you wanted to try to figure it out. You wanted to understand why, right? And how to move through this stuff. So you can see it just there, how your soul created this stuff so you would go on a journey of seeking, of garnering wisdom, right? So ultimately, this stuff is by design. And the stuff I really want to talk about in today's call is, we could say, the chronic obstacles, the sort of obstacles that you've been trying to deal with over and over and over again. And for whatever reason, it seems like it's this key that you cannot unlock. You've tried for a lot of people, this is physical stuff. And I certainly resonate with that experience. For a lot of people, it's mental health stuff. And for a lot of people, it's financial stuff. For a lot of people, it's a relationship that they've been trying to really, you know, ameliorate and get to a better place for years, and it just doesn't happen. And whatever that thing is, that area of your life is the greatest teacher. So if you're someone that suffers with chronic physical health issues, your physical health issues are your greatest teacher. If it's mental health, yeah, that's your greatest teacher. If it's financial, that's your greatest teacher. So that area of your life, if we could switch, at least just for a moment, just in this moment, just for fun, you take a deep breath and just put aside your ego for a second and just say, okay, this area of my life that I've been struggling with, this is my greatest teacher. Thank you. Almost as if you're holding it like it's a flower, like it's a houseplant, or like it's an animal. Thank you. You are my greatest teacher. Thank you. And that can be the first important shift into how can we actually move through this stuff. If you want, we could do a reading and then I could go into more afterward. Do you want to do that?
Yeah,
Leave a bit of a cliffhanger.
I just want to, yeah, let's do that cliffhanger. I just want to say that perspective that you just shared is important. If we can truly see from that perspective in the face of anything, and everything, it really does empower us. It's so comforting, It may not be easy for me. I keep thinking back to my stepdad 12 years ago. At the time, for me to even think, he was my biggest obstacle. He didn't let me go out as a teenager. He didn't let me do the things that I wanted to do as a teenager. So I really had to fight. And when I did, to fight for what I want. If I wanted to go out on the rifle line, not the rifle line with guns, it was the drum and bugle corps.
Yeah.
And baton. If I wanted that, then I had to show up 150%. And I ended up being the best. I ended up being top one. Because it really created a drive for me. So
yeah, there you go.
And I remember leaving the workforce, that and other things that took me to my knees. But that was because it led me right here doing this today.
Yeah.
So I hope that everyone listening can look at their obstacles, whether it's physical or spiritual or emotional or with family, relationships, whatever, and listen to what Matthew's saying here, because that is true empowerment. Okay, with that, we're going to go to Susan. And Susan, tell us your obstacle. Hello.
Awesome, Matthew. This is my first time to see you and hear you.
Great. All right. Fun.
Okay, well, I agree that suffering is a path to awakening.
Yes. It's the most common path, actually, for almost everyone. Is suffering is the path, and eventually the suffering just turns into a new way of being that eventually is without suffering. But it doesn't always end up looking or feeling the way that you might have envisioned it. When you're in the suffering, there's a certain vision of who we want to become that is without suffering. And eventually, as we move through our spiritual journey, we eventually do get to a place without suffering, or at least with a lot less suffering, because we've elevated ourselves vibrationally. However, a lot of times, ironically enough, our life actually looks different than what we imagine. Sometimes it's similar to what we imagine, but not always.
Yeah, but it will bring us what we want in the end.
Exactly. It'll bring us what's truly important to our soul, because the soul always knows infinitely more than the ego mind.
Exactly. Okay, well, my obstacles are in every aspect, but when it comes to health, I'm sure if my health can be improved, everything else will be improved as well.
Yeah.
Especially with my blood cell issues, it's pretty serious. So do you need my birth date and time or anything?
No, it's okay. What I'll do for this today, instead of doing astrology work, I'll just do more of intuitive work, and maybe even if I feel called to pull out the tarot, I will. But is there a lot of fatigue involved with this?
Yeah. A lot of anemia.
A lot of anemia. Yeah. And I'm sure you've been to all sorts of different holistic doctors.
Yeah, I went down the allopathic path and that was a dead end.
Yeah.
And holistic ones, they just don't know how to fix me.
Huh. All right. Well, for you, what I'll do is just kind of get the gist of what this means in the context of your soul plan and why and what advice I have for you. So I'm just going to be silent for 20, 30 seconds here and just receive whatever I can receive about Susan Boyce. Couple things I pick up from a past life perspective. When we talk about anemia, it's the blood, and the blood represents vitality. The blood is the root chakra. It's when we have anemia, we don't have the proper red blood cells, right? We're lacking iron. We're not at a vitality to support the physical body, of course, being at its most highest place of strength. Well, the reason, of course, I'm bringing that up, that's obvious to everyone, but from a past life perspective, you come into lifetimes before this of being in constant fight or flight because you were in military situations, you were in battle situations, you were constantly fearing for your life. There was even literal spilt blood in deaths that occurred to you before this one, leading up to this lifetime. And however your soul sorted it out in this current lifetime, my sense is that you were meant to get to a place physically where you're meant to be slower and you're meant to not be as physically strong because your soul wanted to develop everything else. In the lifetimes before this, you were hyper focused on just like the Martian in astrology, the Martian energies of physical strength and warring. And in this life, you're meant to open up everything else, including the upper chakras, the psychic faculties, writing, knowledge accumulation, and meditation, breath work, things like that. And then the more gentle aspects of working with the physical body, such as yoga, things like that, and connecting with other lifetimes. There was a lifetime you had where I think it seems like you were actually really deep into the spiritual path through the vehicle of yoga. And moving forward in this life, there is a level of acceptance, I think, of that this isn't a handicap. It seems like a handicap, I know, and it's frustrating, but this isn't actually a handicap because you did anything wrong in any level or because you're a victim on any level. This is actually a handicap that's a gift because it in some way or another, my sense is it probably pushed you in a different direction, and it pushed you in a direction where you wouldn't be in the world as much, and you'd be more in this space where you'd have time to develop. So my advice is throw yourself into, if you haven't already, this spiritual journey and develop these skills and look towards breath work and yoga. And then as far as the anemia, my sense is there still are things you could do through supplements and homeopathy that could help. You just haven't necessarily found the right stuff yet. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, I've tried everything. And then I'll be like, well, have you tried this or this or this? And they're like, oh, I never heard of that. There's thousands and thousands of, really tens of thousands of possibilities between supplements, between Chinese herbs, between homeopathy. Okay. So there are some things that could help as well, but there's a psychic medium, if you aren't already one, that's there in you that is supposed to come out in this life. You're moving completely away from that masculine young energy into the yin. The more yin you are, the better. So does some of that make sense?
Yeah, it does, but I'm not sure if the anemia is that you're getting is exactly right, because they're saying that I'm either at or heading towards leukemia. So it's a different type of anemia.
Okay. I apologize if anything I said, sounded like
everything else you said.
Well, no, but I do want to apologize because you didn't say that, and sorry if I didn't pick that up, how serious it is, but I still would stand by everything else I said, and even in general, metaphysically speaking, and when it comes to leukemia and any type of serious illness like cancer, there's of course multi factors, including genetics, of course, but on a metaphysical level, in many cases, it's about letting go of any place within you that is still feeling like a victim, even from stuff that happened long ago, or even just from where you're at now. And I don't mean to say this callously or anything at all. Like, but there are people that get a diagnosis of leukemia or cancer and go down the path of like radically stepping into empowerment and radically accepting it and radically becoming who they sense on some deep level the cancer, the leukemia is trying to make them into, and they experience things like spontaneous remission, or they experience radical physical changes. Dr. Joe Dispenza's work is a great example of these real world, instances that happen all the time. And then there's others that they don't, and they want to hang on to, that they got a disease or they've had a disease and they're a victim of the disease. And a lot of times they continue to try to treat it over years and years and get nowhere. And then maybe they even leave the realm. And so regardless of how serious the diagnosis is, and again, I didn't want to apologize because I didn't mean to trivialize in any way. That wasn't my intention. But at the same time, regardless of how serious the diagnosis is in this physical realm, we see evidence all over the place of every single type of disease being healed through the power of the mind and through the power of letting go of all victimhood and all resentments against the disease, against life, against God, against people from the past, and stepping into, like, the most important question to ask is, who is my soul trying to have me become? And for you, my sense, it's something along the lines of a wise, calm, peaceful, centered shaman, medium, healer, very much in tune with the elements and everything that's around her, and someone that is very much completely at peace with the present moment. But that's just my sense, and I would encourage you to, get others' perspectives as well. If anything I said didn't resonate, I'm just doing the best I can.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. I just don't, and I know what you're saying. I'm knowledgeable about everything I need, and I've been following Dr. Joe Dispenza for years, and I do his meditations and I do the breath work, but it seems like there's something blocking me from getting to my goal.
Okay. So I want to actually use what you said there, and just, with respect for the group, as a teaching tool for everyone that's on the live call and also watching, because this is one of the main things that I wanted to bring up today. And maybe some of this will resonate with you, Susan, maybe not. But a lot of times, like, one of the bullet points I had in the description of today's call is why we often struggle. We think we found the solution to something, then it falls short. Or we keep over and over trying to solve the same problem, and it never seems to get anywhere. And this takes a lot of, it takes a level of self-awareness that most people aren't able to get to, but perhaps some of you can get to it right now, maybe in this moment. Maybe if you imagine that you're taking a bird's eye view of your life, of your experience, right? Maybe from a level high enough where you can almost chuckle at some of the parts of you that are a bit silly or stubborn. And if your internal paradigm is completely focused, this is one of the ironies. If your internal paradigm is completely focused on trying to solve a problem, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, financial, etc., you will, through that, learn a lot of different stuff. You will experience a lot of different modalities and ways of trying to heal. But what happens is a lot of times you get stuck. It's almost as if you get stuck on this hamster wheel of trying to solve that problem. And when you're stuck on it, if you perceive on any level you're stuck on a hamster wheel, Susan, it seems like you perceive you are. The solution is about creating, which is actually the essence of Dr. Joe's work. The essence is creating a new self. It's as if you're creating a new avatar. He talks at length about creating a new personality. So it's not about readdressing the same problem from different angles. When that stops working and we realize we've gotten stuck in that paradigm, it's about, okay, who is my soul forget about what the reason is. For some people, it's cancer. For some people, it's leukemia. For some people, it's, poverty. For some people, it's they just lost their loved one. For some people, they just got in a major car accident. For some people, they're in prison. Whatever it is, who is my soul trying to make me become? Who is my soul trying to create out of me? This thing, this disease, this whatever happened, I'm like this putty now. I'm like clay that hasn't yet been formed. Who is my soul trying to mold me into, sculpt me into? And if you focus your energy and intention, that word intention is so important, more and more and more on the becoming and less on solving the problem, what happens is as you become that, the problem solves itself. And a lot of times it can actually be quite miraculous and spontaneous, like Dr. Joe sees in his work, like I've seen in some of my work over the years with people. So when we get stuck in trying to solve the problems in our life, if we can separate ourselves and just leave the problems and focus on the becoming, which I know is a nearly impossible task when you've got a diagnosis like you have. I understand as best I can, Susan. Okay, I have a very personal experience, very recent in my family with cancer, and I understand how horrifying it is. But this is what your soul decided to. What if your soul decided to put this as the major part of your life plan because you were strong enough to do it? You were strong enough to take this nearly impossible task and do what your soul wanted you to do with it.
Okay, so I just have to get beyond what do I see every day, basically. I mean, I have to come.
That is the hardest part. The hardest part is getting beyond what you see every day. There's little tricks that you can do to help that, like little things like rearranging your home, starting to listen to, like if you used to watch the same podcasts or TV shows, changing that, listen to classical music or whatever. Just changing kind of some of the things you pay attention to, but just get really focused on that essential question. And actually, the great thing is, and I don't mean this to sound callous at all, but the great thing is that when you have a diagnosis that's really serious or dire, you don't have time anymore to dilly-dally and kick around. You have to figure it out. And a lot of times that necessity of figuring it out in a relatively short period of time makes you do it. And then you look back and you're like, oh my God, I did look at this. Look at what I took and what I created from it. So yes, stepping out of what you're used to paying attention to, stepping out of pay, and it doesn't mean stop searching for things that can help. But when you search for things that can help, it should be with a different mindset. So instead of I'm searching for a cure to this in holistic ways or whatever, it's I'm searching for things that can actually accelerate the healing that I'm already creating through my mind by every day radically stepping into, which is the name of this class today, radically stepping into who my soul is trying to make me become. And that's the essential question I want everyone on this call to remember. Who is my soul trying to make me become? Who is my soul trying to mold the clay into? Okay.
Okay. I just feel like that the clock is ticking, on this, but I got to get that out of my mind.
The clock is ticking in a sense, but in a sense it's not, because in a sense, this lifetime is it's a flash in the pan. It's a blink of an eye. It's a dream. Just like when you go to bed, it seems like you're in a dream world forever, and then you wake up. In a sense, this lifetime is a blink of an eye. So right. The more you step into that timeless actually element, Plant medicine does that very well for people. I'm not saying you have to do that, but you know, some people look into that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's if you're on the path with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, that's a great path. And I've heard from a few people over the years that have been going deep into Dr. Joe's work, and they hit a wall with it. They feel this sense of frustration with it. The one thing about Dr. Joe's work is it is very intensive, and he's a very intensive teacher. He's a very intense teacher, which is why he's so successful. But at the same time, a lot of people get to this point or this paradigm where they feel like they're not doing it right. And it just try to separate from any, because that's just another part of you that's trying to hold you back. It's as if there's these parts of us that are trying to move us forward, and there's these parts of us that are trying to just drag us back, right? So those parts of us that are trying to drag us back, it's like, okay, you're there, but no, I'm overcoming. I'm stepping above. I'm stepping vibrationally above. And these things, they'll talk in the back of your head. You're not doing this right. You know, this is never going to work. You're going to die, whatever the voices are. No, I see you. I hear you. I honor you, but okay, no, I know who I am, and I know that I've got this. If there's a deep sense within I know I've got this, you're gonna get it. And it's just a matter of how, when, exactly how it looks, but you're gonna get it. And again, who are you becoming? Who does your soul need for you to become? Make sure you're super clear on that. And it's more than what I just mentioned. It's a lot more, because I don't know your personal life. I don't know what your day-to-day likes and dislikes in life are, and your true passions. But those are the sorts of things that you're likely being molded into. Someone that loves life in every way, and someone that is of service in some way. Because whenever souls give someone like you a really difficult lesson, it's because you're meant to be someone that ends up serving a lot of people in one way or another in a very important way. Okay.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've always wanted to do, is to help other people.
That's exactly who you are. Another way of looking at it is, who am I truly? This is such a silly example, but I don't think it's a coincidence that I went down this rabbit hole last night of watching Men in Black 1 and 2, like going back to my youth. Like in Men in Black 2 was such a silly movie, and you know, in a lot of ways, but like at the end when you know, Will Smith's love interest has to get in this pod, and she gets taken up to her home planet because she's the queen of her home planet, and she has resistance. She's like, no, I don't want to leave. Like, who I what are you talking about? I'm just a pizza. I just work at a pizza shop. That's it. And then, you know, Tommy Lee Jones, you know, Agent K is like, we are who we are. Whether we know it or not, we are who we are. Go, you know. And it's stupid, but it just reminded me of the truth of that. You are who you are, and it takes sometimes decades, a lifetime of just piece by piece throwing away the bullshit armor of the ego in order to get to that essence. And that's the soul shining through. For some people, it does take the experience of cancer or leukemia or something really, really difficult to get there. But you're there, and it's by design. So the more you can step into that paradigm, this is exactly what I wanted and needed. And that sounds insane. But if you can get there, you're well on your way.
Yeah, I've heard that before, where people said that sickness or whatever happened bad in their life was the best thing that ever happened. And I was like, I don't understand that they do today.
Maybe today is the shift. Maybe right now, this is the shift.
Okay, well, I'm just going to focus and believe in myself.
Because what is the other option is to continue to fight within internally and be a victim and feel like a victim and leave the planet someday. And if you did that, you would leave the planet and you would feel like, oh man, I really wish I would have thought about that differently, you know?
Come back and do it over and over again.
Exactly. Then you come back and do it again. So maybe right now, this moment today, this is the shift. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And please feel free, join my Ascending as One group, get the special offer package so I can be there to help support you. If you like my vibration, if you feel that my vibration is helpful, just being in my group, can be a support system. And there's so many other people in the group as well, in the Ascending as One group, that are supporting each other with whatever obstacles they're moving through.
Okay, great. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. And you do get private sessions with me as part of special offer 2, just for everyone on the call. If you do special offer number 2, you get 2 private readings with me, one for May and one for June. So if you want to talk to me one-on-one, that's the best way.
Okay, that sounds great, and I'll probably
All right.
do.
Blessings.
Namaste.
Susan, we are sending you so much love and saying, you've got this. We trust you've got this.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Loren.
Thank you. Susan.
I know she's got this.
Yes.
I do.
You mentioned plant medicine. There's a
Yeah.
lot of amazing research coming out on plant medicine. Ayahuasca, San Pedro, psilocybin. Psilocybin is huge right now on healing. And the Quantum University, who Joe Dispenza is a part of, that's where I've met him there before. They've told stories of a lady who did LSD. I'm not saying to go do this, but the story is very interesting. When this is indicative of how plant medicine assists us in this journey. She did LSD and she saw herself in she was in meditation with it. She had a guide. And when she saw herself, she came back from that completely healed. The doctors were like, you're fine.
Yeah.
I know you're exploring, Susan, and I know there's probably a lot of people with a lot of advice for you. So we hope
that was on my mind too, about trying the mushrooms too. But
it can be
microdosing.
Let's see. Here's what I can say. It's like it can be kind of this. It's like if a door. This is such a dumb example, but it's like, let's say you got this like old house and like your door is like stuck and it's just it's a screwdriver that can leverage and get the door open, or it's not that I support the use of WD-40 because it's so toxic, but whatever you spray in the door to just get it, it can be this little lubricant to unlock the parts of your mind that align with the soul. And yeah, we're not saying to do it. It's not legal everywhere yet. Check, your local, whatever rules are, but it is something that for some people has helped.
Oh yeah, I think it's worth a shot trying. Like I don't know how much to take, and what I'm supposed to be doing while I'm under it. I didn't,
Yeah, I can't help you with that, but
did it as a
there's ways, there's resources.
Microdosing, micro, like a speck.
Huh, okay.
None of that stuff. It's not for a party, but and then this may lead you in your own research and connection with other people who have more information about that.
If it's something that, your soul really wants you to do, you'll find the right people and the right information to do it the right way, whichever route, because there's so many, as Loren mentioned, there's so many possibilities of different types of plant medicines. But yeah, if you set that intention, you'll find the right people. We're sending you so much love, Susan, and I hope you do join my Ascending as One group so we can continue to support you.
Okay, great, and I will, and thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you, Susan. We love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
Yes, we love you.
Thank you, Goddess. All right. Wow. It's good information for everyone, Matthew. So Susan, thank you. You are helping other people, sister, as well with your journey. Okay. You ready for another reading?
Yeah, let's do another reading. And then we should talk about the packages too at some point
Actually, let's do that first.
Okay.
Let's do that first. You've got a whole wealth of courses and information. So I'm going to put the link up on the various.
Yes.
Go ahead and tell us about what you're offering today.
So I mentioned to Susan, I highly recommend her getting one of the packages so she joins my Ascending as One program. So I have a group mentorship program. It's called Ascending as One. It's my signature program that I am offering ongoing. And it is a group mentorship where we meet live on Zoom on Sundays, right around usually 5 o'clock Eastern time, 2 o'clock Pacific. And we have these wonderful, really in-depth 3-hour calls where we start with an astrology overview for the week to come. I go over the day-to-day planetary configuration, so you know how to navigate each day of the week. You know what to look for, what to avoid, when it's a great time to, do something social or for work, when it's not a good time, etc. People have been loving, having a plan for the week to come based on astrology. Then after the astrology segment, we go into the healing topic for the week. I do some teaching, and then I lead a group meditation and a group energy healing, some group EFT tapping, which, by the way, Loren, I did promise I would do a little bit of tapping on today's call. So if we want to maybe finish with that, we might, think about that. But we do EFT tapping on each call, and then I do live readings on each call, and we spend 3 hours together on Sundays. It's just a wonderful group. You get to meet people from all around the world. There's a Telegram group, and we connect and chat in the Telegram group every single day. And for May, if you join in today, or you join in tomorrow, or you join in time for Sunday, there is actually a call on Sunday called Healing Your Crown Chakra. The crown chakra is so important. That's our connection to the divine. It's our connection to above. And actually, like in Susan's case, and people that have that serious diagnosis, the crown chakra plays a huge role, because the crown chakra determines, do we believe that this is a benevolent universe and this is all for our greater good, or do we believe that we're a victim of something? And that is the realm of the crown chakra. So we're going to bust through people's crown chakra obstacles and open it up. And when you open it up, also, it really helps you, your psychic antennas. It helps you to receive stuff from above much more effectively than before. Perfect for right after the Scorpio eclipse. So that's Sunday. May 14th is learning to use the 12 rays of creational energy. So we can divide source energy into 12 rays, each with a unique color. And when we learn to harness the specific uses and frequencies of each ray, it can help us immensely in our manifestation, the way we go about navigating life. So that's May 14th. May 20th, a special Saturday call, Intro to Meditation. I'm going to teach you basics on how to still your mind, and we're going to do a lot of practice in stilling the mind. And then June 4th, Understanding, Seeing, and Healing Your Aura. June 11th, Understanding Your Starseed Origins. Those of you who might get a sense that you might be a starseed, you might be like that Men in Black 2 lady that got called up to her home planet, right? I think that was about starseeds, on some level, from Spielberg probably. But anyways, if you think you might be a starseed, do you want to join June 11th so you really understand who you are, why you came here, and a little bit about all the different or some of the different, extraterrestrial races that are here as starseeds. And then June 25th will be our Intro to Mediumship. If you feel like there is a part of you that is a medium just waiting to come out, if you feel like that is a skill you've always wanted to acquire, and I'm talking about mediumship with angels, with loved ones on the other side, with extraterrestrials, with really anyone you'd like to learn to open up, to connect to, learning to channel, okay? That Intro to Mediumship call is a great introductory class on that. So you get all of those classes for May and June. And if you can't join live, a lot of people are like, oh my God, I would love to. Sundays are bad for me. I can't. Why can't you do it on Thursdays? Well, it's okay, because you get to either, if you want to download the recording or if you want to stream the recording right after it, I make it super easy to watch the replays. You get class notes immediately after each recording as well. And also with that package A, which is just $122, there's also 2 payment options available to divide it into 2. And you also get 9 of my recorded classes as a bonus. How to be a successful spiritual entrepreneur, which was really great. We did that a couple months ago for people that are wanting to start up new businesses in the new age field as psychics, mediums, healers, etc. Clearing your inner blocks to activate your maximum financial abundance, mastering your intuition, EFT through the 7 chakras, all about angels, archangels, and 7 masters, powerful visualization techniques for ascension, human energy field 101, spiritual hygiene, core cutting, and grounding 101, and dissolving the ego. Now, that's just offer 1. Offer 2, which I definitely recommend for Susan and for anyone else that wants a deeper experience and wants to work with me one-on-one. That includes not only 2 private sessions with me, okay, 1 in May and 1 in June. It also includes access to my VIP only Ascending as One calls, We have a VIP call on May 28th, exploring the Akashic Records. Yes, I'm going to teach you how to go into the Akashic Records. There's some people that charge thousands of dollars for Akashic Records courses. You get this included in the package, okay? Plus, on the VIP calls, I am a trance channel, and I channel a group of 5 Syrian extraterrestrial beings, as I am a Syrian starseed. And it is fascinating, the channelings. A lot of times they talk about what's going on in the world. They talk about what's to come. They answer questions from the audience. It's really fascinating, and you can absolutely come on the live Zoom calls and ask the Syrians any questions you'd like. That's May 28th. Then there's also a VIP call in June 24th, will be our summer solstice group activation. We're going to do a powerful ceremony to align with the summer solstice, and we're going to do Syrian channeling on that call as well. And as I said, you get those 2 one-on-one calls with me, and you also get my entire other library of recorded webinars, Putting the Past in the Past, Addiction Relief for Lightworkers, Healing with Colors, Intro to Candle and Moon Magic, Change Your Reality by Changing Your Words, How to Move On Completely from Your Ex, Awakening the Divine Masculine, Creating the 5DU, Navigating the Dark Night of the Soul, A Deeper Level of Forgiveness, and 2 other audio bonuses. All those webinars that I talked about, they're full length. They're full classes, master classes, between an hour and a half and 3 hours or more. So you have my whole library of work with these packages, over 60 hours of content, I believe, if you add it all up. And that's just $244 for special offer 2, including 2 private sessions with me. So these are really fantastic deals. The only way you can actually work with me one-on-one right now is through the Ascending as One program. I'm not currently offering full-length private sessions. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, these packages are the way to go right now.
I just want to say thank you for that, Matthew, with your whole library of those webinars. It's your teachings. It's beautiful content, rich in content.
Yeah.
And the price that you're offering, but for both of these options, are very affordable.
Yes.
What we would pay to go see a body worker or a doctor is something that will give us so much support for a very minuscule dollar amount. And if there's those who need assistance, we have a 2 payment plan because we want to make it easy for everyone to get into this. It really is exquisite, especially the personal time with you.
Yeah.
To me, that is such a deep, deep value. Thank you.
And you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. You get, if you purchase today, you can work with me next week in a one-on-one call, and you can be on this Sunday's call, and you can even ask for a reading at the end of that call. So there's so much personal time you get with these packages, and right away.
Perfect. So we encourage everyone to check out the links. We posted them here. And of course, they're on the webpage where you're watching this program. Thank you for that, Matthew.
Yeah. And just to clarify, for people that are watching the recording, throughout the rest of May, like even if you missed, the live Ascending as One calls, healing your crown chakra, or, the 12 rays of creational energy, don't worry, because as soon as you purchase the package, you're getting an email with everything, including the recordings of the ones that you missed. So you can get caught up right away.
Yes, it's an immediate download. And
and also for people that are super busy, and maybe you've bought a bunch of stuff and you don't have time to go through all my work, don't worry. If you, let's say you just want to meet with me one-on-one, maybe there's a question you really want to ask me, you think I can help you with, purchase offer 2 and do the readings. And then if sometime you have a chance to go back and consume the Ascending as One and the other recorded content, great. If not, that's okay too. But this is a way to just get a reading with me as well, if you'd like. Yeah,
very good. What a great value in that package. And maybe in a next Mercury retrograde, you'll go back and watch some of those.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's doing that right now. It's like, oh my God, I bought this thing like 6 months ago. Oh, I forgot to watch it.
So we have about 15 minutes left. Yeah. And I want to make sure that we can get to the EFT.
Yeah.
Also, maybe with the next person, we have time for one more person.
Oh yeah, 1 or 2, whatever we can do with our schedule today. I'm open to.
So, do you want to do EFT with the guest, kind of piggyback those together, or do
I think what I would like to do, if it's okay, is I'd like to do an EFT that maybe applies to the whole group, and it'll just be a quick one, 5 minutes, maybe right at the end, if that's okay.
Okay. So we'll see what we can do here in the next few moments. Helen. Hi, Helen. You can unmute if you are still with us, and you can share what your obstacle is. Do we have Helen? There is an unmute button on your Zoom control panel. Oh, Helen, it looks like you are not on. Oh, Helen, sorry, Helen. You might not be on
We're
computer.
Mercury retrograding.
It is Mercury retrograde. Okay, Helen, maybe you can unmute yourself now. Try again, Helen. Okay, Helen. Oh, goodness,
In the
girlfriend.
meantime, we do have a question from Tina I can answer real quick.
Please.
Tina said, was told by Matthew about being from a mantis being, a mantis starseed. And there's a lot of mantis starseeds out there. A lot of people don't even know about the mantis beings. But she's wondering about what mantis beings abilities they bring, how to connect with that star family. So mantis beings are very unique as far as starseeds, because really, if you think of like, what a praying mantis looks like on Earth, like, okay, extrapolate that and make it like 9 feet tall. That's kind of what in the regression sessions that I've taken people to the mantis planets, it's kind of what they look like. So you come from that into this like very small human body. So one of the most common things that mantis people experience is not really feeling like they fit in, not feeling like they fit in their family, not feeling like they fit in school, not feeling like they maybe even fit into a physical body. And one of the greatest gifts for mantis is sound, because on their planets, the mantis beings are very obsessed with creating healing through sound, through sound frequencies. So anytime a mantis being gets into, playing instruments, playing sound bowls, creating electronic music, anything creating healing frequencies, or just consuming those things. Think about music, and also just anytime you're in the forest, like connected, because think about where praying mantises, where do they like to be? They're on the leaves, the big leaves behind Loren, right? They want to be out in nature. So anytime you're spending time out in the forest and connecting with music, those are the best. Yeah, Tina says, wow, love and believe in sound healing. Exactly. Yeah. And great thing, those of you that purchase the package on the Understanding Your Starseed Origin call, we're going to go into the mantis beings, the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Arcturians, the Yael, the Andromedans, the Cassiopeians, and there's a whole bunch I'm not even thinking of right now. So probably whichever type of starseed you are, I'll cover it in that call.
Beautiful. Okay, we are moving on to our next person, Pat. Pat. Hi, Pat. You can unmute yourself. Are you still with us, Pat? Okay.
And Sadaf said 100% resonance with mantis. They feel, yeah.
Okay, things happen for a reason. Sorry, Pat. Maybe you're no longer with us. We're going to Destiny. Hi, Destiny, sweetheart. Unmute yourself, please.
Oh,
Destiny, it is your destiny to be on.
Hi, Destiny.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I was praying for this, guys. Yeah, could you do a scan to see what my biggest obstacle is? Because right now, thank you, Lauren. Thank you.
Yeah, you know what? What's just for fun? Let me pull out my trusty tarot cards for this one. I promise I do one, and I just feel that sense for this one. So, okay, what advice do we have for Destiny on overcoming her obstacles right now? Is that are we saying your name correctly?
Yes, I was
Okay,
like,
great.
if my teams can hear me and I'm all here and everything's perfect, then please let me be on this call.
And it worked. It worked. See, the two people before you were Mercury retrograded because you were meant to be on the call. That's how it works. All right. So, what advice do we have for Destiny? Hey. All right. I'm going to just really tune in, be with the cards, and just be with whatever else I can receive for Destiny for a moment here.
Tune in with me, please. Tune in with me. Okay. Can't hear him. Can't hear him. I can't hear you.
Yeah, Sebastian's having a bark fest at the UPS guy. So,
Oh,
Lauren, should I just try to talk through it, or do you want me to wait a second here? There's nothing I can do. He's gonna
We are
bark
not
until the
hearing
guy leaves.
anything. Zoom has beautiful filters. We can't hear that.
no, it's good. Keep going.
Oh, you can't hear him barking?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Not at all.
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Oh,
Zoom.
okay, great. So for you, for Destiny, I get this really strong sense of, there's like all of these beings, all of these entities, all of these spirits that are trying to be received through you very strongly. I get that with the Knight of Pentacles, the 10 of Wands, the 4 of Cups, and we have the Sun reverse. I get the sense you are sometimes burdened by a sense of depression or a sense of energetic weight. Like it feels like sometimes life
Well,
is
you're
very.
saying all these beings are trying, and I can sense them here, or sense, not, I don't want to say that, but I sense like I don't want them here.
You don't want them here.
Well, the ones that.
All right, I understand. So for everyone, one of the most common experiences for developing mediums, and you definitely are one, whether you want to be or not, whether your ego wants to be or not, is having to first learn how to really navigate negative beings, how to navigate things like ghosts or things like dark spirits that are bothersome or heavy. So yeah, this is part of your journey is learning how to deal with these types of dark spirits, but also the other side of the token is learning to become a vessel for spirits of light and learning to become a medium. You're one of these people, your soul, you're supposed to be a medium, whether, as I said, whether you want to be or not. It's a huge part of your mission here on Earth, and I would highly recommend you to develop that skill. I would highly recommend joining my Ascending as One group so you can do the intro to mediumship call, because that may help to teach you some things that you're not aware of yet. I'm a very experienced medium myself, but not just that, it's also about, in general, I just get this sense of energetic weight that it's time for clearing out baggage from the past. If there's possessions in your home that you need to throw out, I would recommend doing that. If there are people in your past that are still bothersome, it's either cutting them off or it's, I don't know, maybe there is something that needs to be talked about. But this is all about letting go of energetic weight so you can be at a lighter vibration. And when you're at a lighter vibration, these dark spirits, they naturally won't bother you. It's when there's a lot of darkness that's going on underneath here in the mind that the dark spirits, they feel very comfortable to harass you. And when you don't know how to deal with them and you don't know how to tell them to leave, and so they don't come back, they'll just kind of keep bothering you. And then you want to close yourself up. But it's not about closing yourself up. It's keeping yourself open, your third eye open, your crown open. And it's about the lower chakras. It's about clearing out the lower chakras, allowing your heart chakra to open completely, clearing your space around you, getting your physical body moving more if possible as well, and just becoming a clearer vessel. So you become a medium for benevolent spirits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I knew that, but thank you for letting me be aware.
You
of
needed the
that.
confirmation, the reminder today.
Yeah.
And please, if it's feasible for you, join my Ascending as One group through the special offer so you can be on that intro to mediumship call, because not just you, but so many other people are going to be on that call that are in a similar position to you, where they know on some level they're meant to be a medium. They just don't really know how to do it the right way, or they need to figure out how to deal with dark spirits. Like,
Did you post is it up here so I can pull it up? Oh, yes. Okay. Very good.
Yeah, the link is
Okay.
in
Very good.
yeah, there you
I will
go.
definitely look into that there.
thank you,
Matthew,
Destiny.
For sure. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you,
I
Destiny.
appreciate you, sister.
You sound great.
Blessings.
Bye.
I feel a little better than what I did earlier, but yeah,
Good.
thank you.
Well, because I'm speaking to the soul aspect. I'm and it's reminding you. It's reminding the ego mind of what the soul is trying to bring out of you.
Yeah, I agree, because that's, yeah, yes, it is. Thank you, my
Yeah,
brother.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Can I answer Irene's question real quick? Lauren, is that okay? She asked about like stone people.
Sure, we've got just a few more minutes, so.
But what if I answer her question and then we can do the tapping and then wrap up?
It's an interesting question, and go for it, and then we'll end with the EFT.
All right. So Irene asks, is there such thing as stone people? I feel that I am one since it's so difficult for me to express my feelings and emotions. I've actually never heard that term. It's an interesting term, but I have come across many people throughout my work over longer than a decade that have been in a similar place. They've described a similar experience of life. A lot of people have said things like, I don't think I've ever actually been happy, like ever. Like, I don't think I've actually ever felt happiness, true happiness. I don't think I've ever felt that emotion. And yes, there are people that they're because of trauma usually, and also a lot of times just it's what the soul wants to create as a barrier to evolution, to create the evolution, is this experience of it might be unsafe within due to trauma to feel the negative, certain negative emotions, and then it also becomes unsafe to feel positive emotions, and you end up with this just very narrow band of emotional experience in the day-to-day. And it does become a part of your awakening journey to, one way or another, to actually open up the band so you're experiencing all the emotions. And then eventually through that, you'll start to even out and have a more healthy emotional experience. But that's a process that can take years or decades. But I can definitely help you with that. I've helped many people over the years with this sort of thing. So you're not alone.
Beautiful. Thank you. So EFT, emotional freedom technique.
Okay, so
our show today with that.
Yes.
Wonderful, because people want to know what's up with that and how it works. So thank you for this. Thanks.
Is 5 minutes good?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, perfect. So briefly, the emotional freedom technique is, the acronym is EFT. Tapping is what it's colloquially known as. And it's something that I've been an EFT practitioner for over a decade. It's something that I've always made a part of my work. I find it to be an extremely effective modality. And on my Ascending as One calls, I make sure every call we do tapping. And on the Ascending as One calls, we go much deeper. Sometimes we do 15 to 20 minutes of tapping in one sequence. I'm going to do a short one today, just as an introduction, just to show you how powerful tapping is and how great it feels. So before we start, here's what you need to know, okay? First of all, don't worry if you don't think you're doing this right. You can't really mess it up, but you want to start. This is called the karate chop point right here, okay? So think about where you go hi-ya and break a block, hi-ya. The karate chop point right here, okay? Usually we use 3 or 4 fingers to start. That's where I'm going to start. And when you're watching me, I'm going to say some words, and then I want you, keep your mic muted, but just repeat out loud, essentially. Well, Lauren, you can keep your mic on, obviously, but everyone else obviously muted. Repeat out loud what I'm saying. So we're basically tapping and we're speaking to our nervous system at the same time. So we're going to start with the karate chop point, and then at some point I'm going to move on. And then from now on, I want you to use 2 or 3 fingers. This is the third eye point, then behind the eye. Then you'll see me go under the eye. Then you'll see me go under the nose. Then you'll see me go under the bottom lip. And then we're going to make a light fist and go on the collarbone, real light right here. And then we're going to go under the arm, real light. And then we're going to go back to the top of the head, to the crown, and then back to the third eye. And we'll keep cycling like that for a couple minutes. All right. And then that's it. So just follow along as best you can. We'll start with a nice deep breath. And another one. And tap along with me. Even though I might have a lot of obstacles in my life plan,
Even though I might have a lot of obstacles in my life plan,
I'm still willing to deeply and completely
I'm still willing to deeply and completely
love, honor, and accept myself.
love, honor, and accept myself.
Even though I may feel like I struggle
Even though I may feel like I struggle
moving through my obstacles,
moving through my obstacles,
I'm still willing to deeply and completely
I'm still willing to deeply and completely
love, honor, and accept myself.
love, honor, and accept myself.
Even though I might not know how
Even though I might not know how
to move through my obstacles,
to move through my obstacles,
and sometimes that might be frustrating,
and sometimes that might be frustrating,
I'm willing to deeply and completely
I'm willing to deeply and completely
love, honor, and accept myself.
love, honor, and accept myself.
All these obstacles,
All these obstacles,
all these frustrations,
all these frustrations,
all these things that I can't move past,
all these things that I can't move past,
all these puzzles that I can't solve.
all these puzzles I can't solve.
I feel frustrated.
I feel frustrated.
I don't know which direction to turn.
I don't know which direction to turn.
I don't know why this keeps happening.
I don't know why this keeps happening.
I don't know why I can't just get a break.
I don't know why I can't just get a break.
All these obstacles.
All these obstacles.
Maybe these obstacles are here for a reason.
Maybe these obstacles are here for a reason.
Maybe there's something deeper that's unfolding here.
Maybe there's something deeper that's unfolding here.
Maybe there's some important wisdom I'm learning
Maybe there's some important wisdom I'm learning
through the experience of these obstacles.
through the experience of these obstacles.
Maybe there's important wisdom I'm learning
Maybe there's important wisdom that I'm learning
through the frustration
through the frustration
of not busting through these obstacles.
of not busting through these obstacles.
And even though sometimes it might feel
And even though sometimes I might feel
like I'll never make it through these obstacles,
like I'll never make it through these obstacles,
like these things will just keep happening,
like these things will just keep happening,
there's a part of me that still has faith.
there's a part of me that still has faith.
There's a part of me that never gives up hope.
There's a part of me that never gives up hope.
Maybe there's a part of me that realizes
Maybe there's a part of me that realizes
that I'm actually right on track,
that I'm actually right on track,
that I actually am moving through my obstacles.
that I actually am moving through my obstacles.
Maybe just not as quickly as my ego wants to,
Maybe just not as quickly as my ego wants me to,
or maybe just not in the way that my ego thought I would.
or maybe just not in the way my ego thought it would.
But maybe I realize
But maybe I realize
that my soul is really driving this car,
that my soul is really driving this car,
that my soul is really planning this all out,
that my soul is really planning all this out,
and I'm right on track
and I'm right on track
with where my soul wants me to be.
with where my soul wants me to be.
And if I can remember that,
And if I can remember that,
I no longer have to feel like a victim.
I no longer have to feel like a victim.
I can remember that this was all divinely planned.
I can remember that this is all divinely planned.
And so perhaps
And so perhaps
new solutions,
new solutions,
new ideas,
new ideas,
new ways of being
new ways of being
will naturally come about,
will naturally come about,
as long as I keep that faith
as long as I keep that faith
that I'm going exactly where I need to go,
that I'm going exactly where I need to go,
that my soul is in charge.
that my soul is in charge.
So instead of focusing so much on the problems,
So instead of focusing so much on the problems,
what if I focus more on who I'm meant to become,
what if I focus more on who I'm meant to become,
who my soul wants me to become,
who my soul wants me to become,
who my soul is molding me into
who my soul is molding me into
through the experience of these divine obstacles.
through the experience of these divine obstacles.
So I'm putting more attention now than before
So I'm putting more attention now than before
into creating this new self
into creating this new self
that my soul wants me to become.
that my soul wants me to become.
And I'm feeling excited
And I'm feeling excited
about transformation.
about transformation.
I'm feeling excited about becoming a new person.
I'm feeling excited about becoming a new person.
And by becoming a new person,
And by becoming a new person,
the obstacles might clear on their own.
the obstacles might clear on their own.
And so I'm committing to this path
So
of healing and transformation.
So I'm committing to this path of new transformation,
Healing and transformation.
healing and transformation.
And so it is.
And so it
And
is.
everyone take a nice deep breath. Just imagine you're grounding and integrating this new energy throughout your whole body. And just imagine you're growing these grounding roots from your feet down into the earth. And take a nice drink of water as well to help your cells integrate the new information.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right.
So that was a preview of EFT, and you know, we do that, but much longer and deeper on every ascending as one call. How do you feel, Loren, after doing the tapping? I feel great.
I feel great. I feel effervescent, like Alka-Seltzer bubbles.
Oh, I love it.
There's no worry or thought.
Yeah.
There's a lightness.
Yeah.
A lightness. And so it's magic, but it
Yeah.
is real. And so thank you for sharing that technique. And
You're welcome.
thanks.
Tina says, thanks, feel warm throughout the body. Sadaf says, wow, that was magnificent. Thank you. Irene says, wonderful session, yawned a lot. Susan said, signed up already, very excited to transform. Lisa says, thank you. I'm glad everyone enjoyed that. Yeah. Hannah says, so it is. Thank you. Helen says, thank you. Feel wonderful. Yeah,
Yes.
That was great.
Well, magic today. Thank you everyone for being here. Matthew, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We look forward to supporting you more. And for those who are interested in working with Matthew, you've got a taste of what he's like and what energy he brings. And so you're invited to join him on his journey and your journey as well. He is a beautiful facilitator for your transformation, healing, and consciousness expansion. Thank you, Matthew. Blessings.
Thank you.
We'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. Blessings to everyone. Thank you for everyone that joined live. It was a really great group today. A lot of people were on today's call. And thank you to everyone watching the recording. And I look forward to working with so many of you further in my program. So thank you.
Thank you. Awesome, everyone. Thank you, Matthew. And we love you all for your love and light. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.